One thing I want to be sure I hit on is Mesh Fusion. This is something that's been in ZBrush for a while, but I just want to kind of remind people that it exists. So what I'm going to do is hit the comma key here. We're going to go to grab the demo head here. It's on our canvas now. Let's go ahead and go to geometry. Go down to lowest subdivision and we'll delete higher. Go to subtool and we can go ahead and select the eyes and delete those. So what we can do is we can use Mesh Fusion to create or to fuse two separate objects together. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold down, I'm going to go out of X symmetry here. I'm going to hold down Control Shift and I'm going to hold down Alt and I'm going to temporarily remove visibility from one side of his head here, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to go hold down Control Shift, go to Slice Circle, and I'm going to make sure it's square center, make it a perfect circle here. I'm going to hold down Control Shift, I'm just going to slice right through the head. Now the reason I hid the other side is it would slice all the way through if I had it showing, so I just wanted to show it right here. So with a and you can make polygroups any which way you want to. You can go in here and you can mask something, you can hit Control W, all that good stuff. So however you want to make your polygroups is kind of up to you. But what you can do is get a polygroup here, and now if you go to Brush, Insert, BI, you're going to see there's Insert Multi-Mesh Primitives and Insert Multi-Mesh Primitives H. And what that means is there's a hole on the back of these things. So if I go ahead and select, doesn't really matter which one, let's do this half sphere. If you take anything with a hole on the back and you drag it out, and then it doesn't even matter how close it is, you can hit W, you can move it far away, and as long as you don't have Dynamesh turned on, because if you have Dynamesh turned on, it's just going to Dynamesh everything. If that's off, and you control drag and control drag again, it's going to fuse whatever object you had with your original object with edge rings. So let's do this again. I'm going to do this 8, I'm going to hit M, and I'm going to grab this H cylinder, this first one here, and I'm going to drag this one out onto my polys right here. And if I control drag and control drag again, it's going to give me that result. Another thing to keep in mind is if you turn off the smooth modifier in your geometry and you control drag, that'll give you a slightly different result sometimes, so you can kind of play around with turning that on or off. And now when you go out here and we hit D, you're going to see, let's hit always yes, that's going to turn on dynamic, and you're going to see it fuses perfectly with our underlying object. Doesn't matter what the poly count is or what the shape is, it'll go ahead and fuse that. Now obviously if your mesh is more compatible with something, like if you had a ring that would fit these vertices, it would smooth a little bit nicer. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to go to the side here, hold down Control Shift, let's go to Select Lasso. I'm just going to select this top part here. I'm going to hit Control W to make it all one polygroup. And in fact, just to put a little ring around here, I'm going to hover over this face with our Z Modeler brush, BZM. Hover over this face. We're going to go to Inset, Polygroup Island, Region. And I'm just going to pull this in, and now we have a new polygroup here. Just to give me a little breathing room around that edge. So let's go to BI, Insert Multi-Mesh Boolean, and let's scroll around through here. And I see a cool model on here I want to insert on there. Now, unfortunately, if I select this one and insert it out, you're going to see it's double-sided. There is no hole. So what I can do is I can modify this one to make it more compatible with Mesh Fusion. So with that one selected, I'm going to go out of edit mode, hit Control N. I'm going to select the simple brush here. We're just going to grab, doesn't matter what, just grab any primitive here, go into edit mode, make it a polymesh 3D, hit. There's a bunch of different ways to do this. You can do brush to mesh, you can go geometry, modify topology, mesh from brush, or you can just hit W and then tap this one and it'll go ahead and replace your object with this new mesh here. So if I hold down Control Shift, select rectangle, hold down Alt, it will get rid of those back faces here. You know, let's go up one more. If you want to just have this one, you can go to Visibility Shrink, or it's Control Shift S. Now to go ahead and shrink it. Now we have a hole on the back of this object. So now what you want to do is go to Geometry, Modify Topology, Delete Hidden. And then I'm going to go to the front here. I'm going to go to Brush, Create Insert Mesh, or you can go to Brush, Create Insert Mesh here. We'll go ahead and make a new one. We'll go back to our demo head. Hit F to frame it, and now we know when we drag this thing out, since it has a hole in the back, I can go ahead and drag this out. And again, if you want it further away, you can pull it out and just control drag again. It'll go ahead and mesh fuse those together. Doesn't really matter. You can go now. You can go through here and go ahead and do like insert single edge loop. Hold down Alt and get rid of this one. You can go through here now and like bevel this edge loop complete, and then you can go in here with like insert multiple edge loops, interactive elevation. And you can kind of go through here and you can kind of round this out. Whatever you want to do to model these things. If you want to do, say, bevel edge loop complete on this one now, and then we can go to insert multiple edge loops and kind of pull these in. You can do that as well. So any poly modeling you wanted to do, you can just use Mesh Fusion. You can hit D to dynamically subdivide. Then you can see how well that works. If we go back to our original object here, hit F, you can modify this one with Mesh Fusion as well.